elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Race to Power. I'm Molly Gambhir. Our top focus in this edition is on the key takeaways so far from the Japanese Prime Minister's India visit. We tell you all about what's unfolded so far and what these takeaways so far mean for the strengthening of the relationship between the two sides. We also focus on how the US is gearing up for the 250th birthday on the 4th of July, what's in store, and how Donald Trump is positioning himself in a way at the center of those celebrations. All this and more coming up. Starting off with Prime Minister Modi and his Japanese counterpart. They held bilateral talks in New Delhi today. Both the sides have signed several crucial MOUs to boost their cooperation in sectors like AI, metals and energy, and in the field of defense. The Japanese Prime Minister is on a 3-day visit to India, remember. Prime Minister Modi and the Japanese Prime Minister held delegation-level talks at Hyderabad House. Prime Minister Modi has said both the countries prepared a joint roadmap for economic security. Prime Minister Modi also said that Japan has been an essential part of India's growth story. The two countries have massively expanded their defense and security partnership over the past decade. Japan-India defense partnership is underpinned by several landmark agreements, including the joint declaration on security cooperation signed in August last year. Prime Minister Modi says India and Japan have adopted a joint statement in AI, reinforcing cooperation in the field.
हमारे सहयोग का सबसे मजबूत स्तंभ बनेगी। इसी विजन को साकार करने के लिए आज एआई के क्षेत्र में हमने जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट भी जारी किया है। भारतीय एआई इकोसिस्टम के कई प्रमुख संस्थानों में भी आज अपने जापानीज पार्टनर के साथ एग्रीमेंट्स किए हैं। जापान की प्रिसिजन टेक्नोलॉजी और भारत की सॉफ्टवेयर क्षमता, इसका संगम वैश्विक एआई विकास को नई गति और शक्ति देगा। डिफेंस के क्षेत्र में आज हमने भारत और जापान के पहले को डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट पर एग्रीमेंट किया है। नेवल रेडियो एंटेना यूनिकॉर्न का यह प्रोजेक्ट हमारी डिफेंस टेक्नोलॉजी पार्टनरशिप में एक नया अध्याय खोलेगा।
And stressing on Indo-Japan defense ties, the Japanese Prime Minister said Prime Minister Modi's Mahasagar policy aligns with Japan's free and open Indo-Pacific policy. The Japanese Prime Minister also mentioned Japan will conduct exercises in the Indian Ocean to promote naval maintenance, repair and overhaul cooperation and strengthen equipment cooperation under the Make in India framework. Both the leaders also remembered former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe during engagements.
On the other hand, Prime Minister Modi positions the ocean as a shared space that supports regional stability and growth and is promoting the Mahasagar, the Great Ocean Initiative for countries across the Indian Ocean to defend their sovereignty and the sea through their own efforts, which is perfectly aligned with VoIP.
The two countries also regularly conduct bilateral exercises, remember. They also participate together in multilateral exercises. Japan is also among India's largest investors, backing major infrastructure projects, including a high-speed rail corridor between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. According to the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, the Japanese Prime Minister has also invited Prime Minister Modi to visit Japan next year for the annual India-Japan summit. And with us on the broadcast this minute, Ambassador Deepa Gopalan Vadva, former ambassador of India to Japan, with us. Thanks very much for being here on the broadcast. Let me begin by asking you, as someone who's seen the relationship between the two sides evolve so closely, what do you make of the statements and the larger messaging coming in from the two sides, especially the emphasis on alignment between the Mahasagar policy of India and Japan's free and open Indo-Pacific policy?
Right. Thank you very much. Very happy to be on this program. This is the 16th annual summit, first visit here by Prime Minister Takaichi. And in the context of your question, Prime Minister Takaichi has just actually announced an updated FOIP strategy about last month, which was May 26th. And, she has pointed out about the convergences and the overlap between our own Mahasagar policy. As you know, that the principles of FOIP that Japan and India both hold are as important are really freedom of navigation, rule of law, and so on, and that this is very important for the peace, prosperity, and stability of the region. So I think what we did see as an endorsement of the updated FOIP policy. I should also mention that this is the 10th anniversary of the declaration of FOIP by Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And so I think the importance of it being by being reiterated by both prime ministers is very significant.
Right, and also the emphasis laid by the Japanese Prime Minister on the Make in India program. And how important, according to you, is it really for the two sides to really come together on that front and boost that aspect of the partnership?
The economic relationship, part of the relationship has been extremely important in the case of India and Japan. And as you're aware that Prime Minister Modi, when he went last year for the annual summit, we have annual summits, as you know, for the 15th annual summit to Tokyo last year, there was a commitment by the Japanese side that they would invest 10 trillion yen, which is about $61 billion in the coming decade in private investment into India. And this would be across the board from manufacturing to financial services and so on. So we do look upon Japan as a very, very important partner in our Make in India, our initiatives. And to facilitate this, we have done a lot of things, One of them is Japanese industrial parks. There are about 11 or 12 of them all over India. And we create an ecosystem where Japanese companies can come and work. And at the end of the business, the economic forum, which was held after the bilateral summit, Prime Minister Modi also said that he plans to dedicate a week during which the PMO will look exclusively at the issues the Japanese companies may be facing in India. So, we look at Japan as a very, very serious partner as far as our own economic security, our Make in India, and all our initiatives are related to our economy.
Right. We're leaving it there for the moment, but thanks very much for being here on the broadcast and sharing those insights. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, switching focus now to the United States. It will be turning 250 on the 4th of July. The country's president, meanwhile, positioning himself at the center of the landmark celebrations. Despite scorching heat, Donald Trump has refused to cut short his plans. Instead, he promised to give a long speech in a way to show that he can do anything. The address will be taking place at the National Mall as part of the Salute to America 250 celebrations.
July 4th, it's going to be approximately 107 degrees out. And I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech just to show that I can do anything. It's going to be 107.
The event is being organized by Freedom 250, the Trump administration-backed group also responsible for the Great American State Fair on the National Mall. Last month, remember, Trump described the event as the most spectacular Trump rally of them all. He promised military flyovers, air shows featuring top US pilots, a keynote address, and what he called the largest fireworks show in history. But the weather gods have turned up the heat in D.C. The National Weather Service is forecasting a 41.7 degrees Celsius temperature on the 4th of July. And it remains under an elevated extreme heat risk. On top of this, high humidity could make matters worse and make conditions feel even hotter. If the forecast holds, the heat could surpass Washington's previous 4th of July temperature record of 37.7 degrees, which recorded more than a century ago in 1919. And let's go straight across now to Susan Teherani with us from New York for more on this. Susan, we've just spoken about the heat and the temperatures that are expected on the day. But of course, the political temperatures also have been rising in the run-up to these celebrations. Controversies, a lot of question marks that have been raised over the preparations, the celebrations, and how Donald Trump, in a way, is trying to position himself at the center of them. Tell us more about the kind of sentiment that's been looming large on the ground. And what really do we expect Trump to say as a part of what he said will be the longest speech?
Yeah, if you remember, Molly, President Trump's speech during his State of the Union back in February was the longest State of the Union speech, almost 2 hours. Well, he's saying, and the White House also confirms, that this speech is going to be even longer, that it's going to be his longest speech ever. He's expected to tout on his vision for the next 250 years, according to the White House, talk about American patriotism, exceptionalism, and how far America has come. Now, that question of the heat being up when it comes to the political atmosphere, well, that's very accurate. A lot of people are going to be watching whether or not the president is going to bring a message of unity during this speech. He's also expected to tout his administration's accomplishment regarding what he believes is the economy, immigration, national security, and foreign policy as well. So there's going to be a lot of pageantry, of course. It's going to be the biggest 4th of July celebration at the National Mall in Washington, D.C., the largest amount of fireworks, a set of performers, a set of other speakers. They're going to go all out regarding that. But I think that heat that you mentioned is going to be a challenge on the one hand. And on the other hand, how do you differentiate this from a regular Trump rally to America's 250th on July 4th? So those are the things that a lot of people are going to be watching and looking at. But nonetheless, a jubilant celebration indeed.
And a lot of pageantry in store, like you said. Thanks very much for that, Susan. We're leaving it there for the moment. All right, shifting focus now to France. It has officially set the stage for its next presidential election, a contest that could potentially reshape the country's political landscape. With Macron's presidency entering its final phase, all eyes now are on the far-right National Rally and other key players. France, in fact, will be holding the first round of its next presidential election on the 18th of April. 2027, with the runoff scheduled for the 2nd of May. The dates are set to be formally approved by the Council of Ministers.
seront les mêmes qu'à l'habitude. Il y a une période de réserve, il y a des dates.
The rules will be the same as usual. There is a pre-election period, and dates have been set in light of the various constraints and requirements that apply to us. The first are constitutional, and the second have once again been shared with all the political parties. We could have chosen other dates, but we would probably have been criticized for them in view of the school holiday calendar.
The election is widely viewed as the best opportunity yet for Marine Le Pen's anti-immigration national rally to win the French presidency. According to opinion polls, the far-right party is leading the first round of voting, but a major question remains: who will be its candidate? Marine Le Pen is hoping to make her fourth bid for the presidency. However, her political future now hinges on a July 7 appeals court decision. Basically, the verdict will determine whether a 5-year ban from holding elected office remains in place. She has challenged the earlier verdict over an alleged European Parliament fake job scandal. If the ban is upheld, the National Rally could be forced to turn to Jordan Bardella as its presidential candidate. In fact, in recent weeks, Bardella has moved to build his own profile. He is offering views on pension reform, meeting investors, stepping up his international engagement as well. With the election dates now set and a crucial legal decision just days away, France's race to power is already taking shape. And our correspondent Ross Cullen getting us this report from Paris on these developments. Take a look.
The favourites at the moment are certainly the hard-right National Rally, whether that's Marine Le Pen as the candidate or whether that's party president Jordan Bardella as the candidate. They are seen as cruising into the second round runoff against an as yet undecided opponent because the left wing and the centre haven't yet rallied around one single candidate, but it's likely that it will be someone from those ranks going up against Jordan Bardella or Marine Le Pen in the runoff, and it's either or because we are awaiting the results of Marine Le Pen's appeal trial against her sentence delivered in 2025 to be barred from running for public office because she was found guilty for embezzling European Union funds. She's appealed against the sentence, saying that the trial and the verdict is politicised, a personal campaign against her, but prosecutors say that she and other National Rally officials did oversee a misuse of public funds. That verdict will come on the 7th of July. If she is acquitted, she'll be able to run in the presidential election. If her guilty verdict is upheld, she has said that she will then be supporting Jordan Bardella, the young political novice who at the moment is the frontrunner for the presidential election of 2027. Ross Cullen, WION, Paris.
Switching gears now, the UK Prime Minister says he is proud that Britain now has the gayest parliament in the world, quote unquote. He made the remark while hosting a Pride Month reception at 10 Downing Street. At the Pride Month reception, in fact, he hosted LGBTQ plus activists, community leaders and members of parliament, praising the record level of LGBTQ plus representation in British politics. The Prime Minister highlighted his administration's legislative efforts. This includes equalising hate crime laws and a planned full trans-inclusive ban on abusive conversion practices. Following the 2024 general election, the UK Parliament has over 70 self-identified LGBTQ plus members, and that makes it the world's largest national legislature by openly LGBTQ plus representation. Prominent openly gay politicians in Britain, including Wes Streeting and Ben Bradshaw, and House of Lords member Wahid Ali as well. They have played key roles in government and LGBTQ plus advocacy. Openly gay politicians lead governments and hold major offices worldwide. Trailblazing global leaders include former Prime Minister of Luxembourg, former Prime Minister of Ireland, also the Netherlands leader. also the president of Latvia. They have helped increase LGBTQ plus visibility in global politics. The rise in LGBTQ plus representation also reflecting a broader shift in many democracies. Political institutions that were once less inclusive are now seeing greater acceptance of diverse identities, while challenges remain, representation continues to expand. Shifting focus to Germany, where the ruling coalition has unveiled its most ambitious reform package. The move comes as the Chancellor wrestles to revive Europe's largest economy amid growing pressure from his far-right rivals. In a major bid to boost economic growth, in fact, Germany's ruling coalition has agreed on a sweeping package of tax, labor and pension reforms. Announcing the deal in Berlin, the Chancellor said the government is cutting red tape, increasing flexibility for businesses, protecting the welfare state, and reducing the tax burden on both employees and companies.
Wir sorgen für mehr Wettbewerb.
We are working to increase competition, enhance the flexibility of our businesses, reduce bureaucracy, preserve our welfare state, and ease the burden on workers and businesses by lowering taxes and cutting red tape.
At the center of the package is a €10 billion income tax cut to help pay for the tax relief. People earning more than €250,000 a year will face higher taxes. The reforms also include changes to the pension system, with the retirement age set to rise beyond 67 over time. The government will also scrap the right for employees to obtain a sick note by telephone. Certificate from doctor now will be mandatory for sick leave. Apart from this, employers will also be allowed to hire workers on temporary contracts for up to 4 years. The agreement follows months of difficult negotiations between Merz's centre-right alliance and its centre-left SPD coalition partner. The government is also under pressure as the far-right Alternative for Germany continues to lead national opinion polls ahead of the key regional elections this September. Peru's presidential race was marked by election day hiccups and repolling and 22 days of vote counting. But even after the announcement of the official results, Peru's race to power is entering a new phase, this time in the legal arena. Let's tell you what this is about. Defeated leftist candidate Roberto Sanchez is challenging the results, alleging irregularities in overseas voting. He is preparing to take his case to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. This comes just 2 days after the election results were announced, declaring right-wing candidate as the winner of the presidential race. Roberto Sanchez's appeal follows his rejected request to annul the overseas vote. Peru's National Jury of Elections dismissed those claims. They said the allegations were unfounded. Sanchez argues there was a change in the rules preventing the digitalization of the tally sheets for votes cast at Peru's consulates abroad during the runoff. Peru's electoral authority says Fujimori won the presidency with 50.13% of the vote. Sanchez left compared with 49.86% for Sanchez. The National Bureau of Elections is expected to formally proclaim Fujimori as president-elect this week. Fujimori's victory also adds to a broader political trend across the region, where a number of right-wing leaders have recently won office. From Atacama Desert to Guatemala, around a dozen countries are now ruled by conservative parties. Notable exceptions of Brazil and Mexico, where left-wing governments are in power. Japan's Prime Minister was seen trying her hands at santur, a classical and folk musical instrument, during her ongoing visit to India. Here's a glimpse at those moments. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition. But just a reminder to our viewers in India, you can watch all 2026 FIFA World Cup matches on Z5. Ronaldo's Portugal will take on Modric's Croatia in a blockbuster clash. Tune in and catch all the action live.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime